Welcome to Kernel at the Buzzer, where we update you on all things sports at the University of Kentucky. My name is Brett Ramsey.
I'm Ethan Gebreyes.
And I'm Jack Tobin. In this week's episode, we'll be going over what has happened in Kentucky sports over the past month.
The opinions expressed on this podcast are the speaker's own and don't uphold opinion expressed by the Kentucky Kernel.
Kentucky volleyball wrapped up what is arguably its second best season ever behind the 2020 National Championship season. Coming off the heels of a dominant regular season and SEC conference play, they won the SEC regular season title, won the SEC postseason tournament, and were awarded with a number one seed heading into the NCAA tournament, which allowed them to host 4 matches in historic Memorial Coliseum before they went to Kansas City for the Final Four. They only lost one set across all 4 of those matches they played in Lexington. They swept Wofford, Cal Poly, and number 3 seed Creighton, and UCLA took them to 4 sets, but it was still a pretty comfortable win.
Yeah, and in Wisconsin, it was scary. The first set was probably the worst single set that Kentucky played all season, losing the first set 25-12. But they ended up coming back and winning in 5 sets, getting them to the national championship.
National championship was not the ideal start or finish for the Cats fans, but they led the set, and A&M, they just dominated. I mean, they swept us, but the Cats had a good lead in the first set, but just didn't capitalize.
Yeah, obviously not the ending everyone was hoping for a season like that, but I think it's still important to appreciate what they did because it was still a good season. I mean, obviously didn't get the final goal, but there were a lot of bright spots this season.
Yeah, and the exciting thing is they only lost one starter. I mean, the starter was Eva Hudson, but they returned a lot of that bunch to the 2026 season.
Yeah, I really expect the team to come back healthier and stronger next year for sure. And I think that Coach Skinner did a really good job, leading this team and kind of setting that foundation for the future seasons for sure.
Yeah, something that was interesting to me is it didn't come out until before the national championship game that Brooklyn DeLay had been pretty much injured the entire season.
Yep.
Like, that was crazy to me that, one, it wasn't obvious. Like, she looked like typical Brooklyn DeLay, but the fact that it didn't get out until the end of the season, that was wild. Like you said, they only lose Eva Hudson. They've lost a few pieces in the transfer portal, but for a majority, the important pieces will be back for next year as they load up and look to make another run.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm really happy for what Skinner did, getting a lot of fans. You really saw covering this team that there'd be sellouts for almost all of those postseason games and some of the regular season as well.
Yeah, just hope that momentum carries over into next year and the volleyball program continues to grow.
Yep.
After a non-conference slate that was quite uninspiring, to say the least, Kentucky men's basketball has started their SEC play. They have struggled to this point, or at least when they started SEC play. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, to start SEC play, they kind of just got their butts whooped by Alabama, and then I thought coaching was the big issue against Missouri. They were up 8 points with 3 minutes to go, and then the play that stood out to me the most was when there was 30 seconds left in the game. They had 2 timeouts, down by 1, and they didn't have any of their point guards in, and this was when Jalen Lowe was healthy. And they ran a play where Brandon Garrison turned the ball over. I'm like, how can you not call a timeout to get your point guard in, run a set play when you had 2 left? I'm like, Coach Pope has struggled, I'd say, to start this year.
Yeah, we got the win against Mississippi State, though, which is good. And obviously, LSU guys, big shot, Malachi Moreno. And honestly, I don't think it's a national contending team, obviously, but it's still a good win. Feel good for the fans, obviously. But honestly, guys, I was not expecting Moreno to take that shot. Out of anybody, maybe Aberdeen, but Moreno, I don't know. But
I mean, you saw, they said it was the miss, Chandler was supposed to throw it to Owe.
Yeah.
You could kind of see the ball slip out of his hand, but, that was a perfect throw to be a mistake.
It hit him right in the hand.
Yeah.
I just hope that shot kind of puts some spark in this team.
I agree.
And gives them something to play for so they can turn it around. They haven't been terrible this season by any means, but I think they are certainly coasting below what everybody was expecting of them. So hopefully that shot can be a nice little catalyst.
Yeah, I mean, they were the number 1 team on KenPom after their first week of the season. I mean, this team had national champion aspirations, but, I mean, now going into SEC play, I'm just hoping they could be a 6 to 10 seed and get a good draw. Because they're not going to be a top 4 seed. You just need to be a late or a lower seed and just pray for a good draw. Maybe some upsets happen in their region, but that's kind of where my thoughts have gone towards this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, conference is just stacked. Everyone's just really good in the conference, and I just looked. I was like, it's gonna be a long road, but take your wins when you can. Just kind of play as hard as you can. You know what I'm saying? So we'll just have to see, honestly.
Well, the thing about like the SEC last year was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was just dumb. It's not that good this year. I mean, obviously it's the SEC in basketball. Like there's still going to be some teams that you don't want to run into, but it's definitely not as tough as it was last year.
Yeah, there's a lot of quad 1 wins, but there's not those quad 1A wins where you're playing a top 5 team every week. You're playing these Vandy's or Alabamas who are like 10 to 20, but there's no elite teams you're going to have to play. But every win or every game will be a battle. Like most road wins are quad 1 wins.
It's kind of something that's been kind of odd to me is that with this loss to Bama, I mean, it only continued that Bama has seemed to like run Kentucky out of the gym the last few times they've played.
Is that 4 in a row? 3 in a row?
Because the Justin Edwards game.
That's right,
I think 30. I mean, it still could be 3 or 4 in a row.
Yeah.
But that's the last time they beat Bama, I think.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it just feels like you see Bama on the schedule, and you're conditioned to be like, Bama in basketball, you know. But for the past few years, it's been, we got Bama. They might beat us by 30 points.
The thing about Bama is they shoot like 20 to 33. So if they hit at a 40% clip, like it's over. That's like Nate Oates basketball. I mean, it's really successful for some games, but then if you shoot 43s and you're only making like 8, you're gonna lose. So it's an interesting style Nate Oates has.
And I think that's a really tough like style of team to play for Kentucky. Because they've had some stretches this year where the offense just will go dormant for a few minutes at a time, and you just can't do that against a team that's going to jack up so many threes.
Yeah, to go back to coaching, like they were going under ball screens against Alabama, especially off the ball. It was like, I was like, and then Mo Diabate came out and said they were unprepared. I'm like, how can you be unprepared when you guys are getting paid like these guys are getting paid $1.5 million each? Like, I'm like, how can you be unprepared and going under ball screens against elite 3-point shooters? So Mark Pope really has to
tighten things up. Yeah.
Now, the women's team, on the other hand, has been far from a disappointment throughout their non-conference schedule, where they had some pretty good wins, and then they've started off pretty strong in SEC play. I mean, first day of the new year, first game of SEC play, they head into Baton Rouge and take down 5th-ranked LSU 80-78. You want to touch on that a little bit?
Tony Morgan, just ridiculous. I mean, hands down, just been killing it all season. And obviously, buzzer beater, we can kind of connect that with men's basketball. So it's a good moving point to start the conference play and start the new year strong. So, and not to mention, highest road win in program history. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part to this SEC success has been their non-conference schedule. They played Maryland on a neutral site, even though they lost. It prepared them for these games. They beat Louisville at Louisville. So I think these tough non-conference opponents really prepare them for the tough SEC. As the LSU coach even said, they didn't really play anyone in the non-conference. You have to play a top 10 Kentucky team, and Kentucky came out with the win.
Yeah, and another thing about the non-conference is a bunch of those teams they're playing are – they're not playing a bunch of teams that play the same. Like, they are playing teams that have wildly different playing styles than even what they can expect to see in the SEC, and I think that has really helped them to load up. Now, I think they sit at 4-1 right now, and that one loss, it was kind of rough. They went down to Alabama, and much like the men's team, just kind of got smacked around. They didn't shoot very well. Clara Strack had like a very bad shooting performance, which usually is not going to bode well for Kentucky. And then they ended up losing 64-51 in that one before coming back to Lexington.
Yeah, I mean, road games are just so tough. I mean, like I said before, I feel like almost all road games are quad 1 wins or opportunities to get quad 1 wins, and they just did not have their game against Alabama. But 4-1 at the top half of the SEC. Been a good start for sure.
Yeah, after that Bama game, they certainly turned things around. Their next game was they took on number 5 Oklahoma in Lexington, and they took care of business. It was their second top 5 win in 10 days, and it was the first time in program history that the women's basketball team has won 2 games against top 5 opponents. something about that Oklahoma game is that Reagan Beers, as great of a player she is, I don't think Kentucky fans want to see her very much. She was incredibly physical in that game. Just Clara Strack was hitting the floor. Amelia Hassett was hitting the floor. I mean, I thought the fans were about to come out on the court and handle business themselves. But
yeah, and then after that Oklahoma game, you're supposed to beat a team like Florida, but getting the win, I mean, it was pretty close late in the fourth quarter, but they ended up pulling it out. So, like I said, starting off the SEC play hot is pretty big for this team.
For sure.
It was kind of weird in the Florida game because they started out really hot. They were up 17 like late in the first quarter, and then Florida stormed back and kind of just smacked them around in the second and third quarter. But Kentucky was able to pull it out in the fourth. Florida shot 60%.
Yeah.
The highest shooting percentage any team had against Kentucky prior was, I think, 48. Was LSU shot that? Kentucky does a really good job at limiting quality shots. And not to say that Florida was just getting easy shots. They were just making everything. Like in the third quarter, they shot 11 for 13.
Yeah.
And to be able to, I mean, Florida moved to 0-5 in SEC play with that loss. But anytime you run into a team that's hitting shots at that rate, it's going to be a tough match. But Kentucky was able to pull it out. I mean, it's an adage you hear in all sports that good teams win close games, and that's what we saw.
Yeah, and what do you guys think the ceiling is for this women's team? We talked about what we thought the men's team could do in the tournament. I think this team is a Final Four team if they get hot at the right time and get healthy.
I mean, consistency is key here. I mean, starting off January 1st, that was sweet. Obviously, good momentum, but if they can ride this out, it's probably good for the tournament, obviously. But that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, I think Tiani Key coming back will be very, very important and really guide where this team can go. And, I mean, obviously Tiani Key is a great player. Like, her absence is huge. But another thing that I think kind of goes under the radar with her absence is they do not have the big depth that they need to compete in the SEC and deep in the tournament.
Yeah,
if Clara Strack runs into foul trouble. Yeah, like she went out with, I think, 3 minutes left in the third quarter in the Florida game and had to sit for 10 minutes because she got her fourth foul. And Florida, I mean, kind of pulled out.
They made them pay for it.
But when she came back in, she scored on the first possession and then blocked a game-tying three-pointer with like a minute left. Like, she's just invaluable. And not having Key, if she gets in foul trouble, it's just going to be tough defending the paint. But another thing is that I think this team has a bunch of options.
Yeah.
I know last year it felt like if Georgia Amore wasn't having a good game, the team was going to lose. And that's just not the case this year. I think Toni Morgan does a great job as a true point guard, but she can also get a bucket herself. Like against Florida, she had 26 points, 13 assists.
Yeah.
You'll take that. I mean, it feels like this team can win in a variety of ways. It can get its points through multiple different avenues, which I think will bode very well for them come tournament time. After 13 seasons as Kentucky football's head coach, Mark Stoops was kicked to the curb after some pretty disappointing seasons. He had lots of great years. Those 10-win seasons will be hard to forget.
Yep.
Like, he was very good, but I think in the end it was those seasons that kind of hurt him because he just couldn't get back to that level, and he was eventually let go. His replacement was hired, and Oregon's offensive coordinator, Will Stein. He was one of the top options in the coaching cycle this year. He grew up a Kentucky fan, went to Louisville, of course, but I think there's plenty of reason to be excited. What do you guys think about Will Stein?
Yeah, well, I think after Mark Stoops lost 41-0 against Louisville, he had to go.
There's no doubt, yeah.
But I love the Will Stein hire. I love what he's doing, especially building the offensive line. Big Bears fan, and that's what they did. They brought in Ben Johnson, an offensive mind, and then they built the offensive line. So, because if you can run the ball and give your quarterback time, they got some good skill positions. I'm really excited for the offense. I don't know what we're going to do on defense. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be the opposite of like last year. We're going to be playing 42-38 games instead of the 16-13. But I love what he's doing on the offensive side of the ball, and I think it'll be entertaining.
Yeah, I'm excited. New face comes in town. I'm just curious what to see. I mean, I watched Oregon a little bit in the playoffs against Indiana. Was was not happy about that score, but he's definitely going to hopefully, make the program better, and I just think it'll be really good for Cats fans. So, Stoops, it was bad, especially Louisville, like you said. There was no excuse. It was bad, but Stein is going to get more players. Got that running back from Texas I saw, so I'm really excited. Really am.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think him being an offensive mind will at least be exciting. Yeah. Because it might just be me. Yeah. But like you said, those 16-13 games. Yeah. It's not a brand of football that I like to watch. So.
And players, like you want to play for an offense who's scoring 38, playing fast. You don't want to play for an offense who's running the ball 3 times and running wide receiver screens and punting.
Yeah.
Like you want to if you're going to get the top quarterbacks, the top receivers, you're going to be playing these games where your offense is scoring 30-plus points.
Exactly.
No, and that's something that in his time at Oregon, the Ducks were one of the best offenses in the nation every year. Yeah. And I think it's obvious that he knows what he's doing on the offensive end, and that's why we've seen this huge influx of talent through the transfer portal. I'm excited to see kind of what you mentioned. You don't know what's going to happen on defense, but if that can get sorted, I think that this program could get turned around in a hurry.
Yeah, they got a top 10 transfer quarterback in Kenny Mitchie. They got C.J. Baxter from Texas. I mean, the offensive line guys that they added have been huge or top-rated guys, so I'm really excited to see this offense next year.
Me too, yeah. And referring back, like that press conference, our offensive coordinator said, we're coming here to compete for championships. I mean, that mindset already just tells me they're ready to go to work and turn this program upside down. So, yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this, but how long do you think he'll stay if he has success? Because there's a chance he could be like what Sig's done for Indiana and just said, I love it here, I'm going to stay here, or is he going to go to another school?
Yeah, I hope him growing up a Kentucky fan will kind of help us out there. Yeah. But I'm not too I don't know. I think that if he does what I'm expecting him to do, about 3 or 4 years from now, a team like Ole Miss or LSU will come knocking and just offer him a huge raise, a huge job improvement. And I don't know what his motivations are, obviously, but I could see that being pretty tough to turn down.
Yeah.
Our athlete of the week this week, none other than Tony Morgan, who had 2 great games in the win over number 5 Oklahoma, and then dominated against Florida. Against Oklahoma, she had 22 points, 4 assists, 8 boards, shot 42% from the field. I'll take it. And then against Florida, she had 26 points, 13 assists, and shot 8 for 9 from the field.
Yeah, they have 26 points on 9 shots. I don't know how it's possible. I mean, I know it's free throws, but that's an insane efficiency that she had against Florida.
Yeah, she's been great all season. She's the only player in the country that's averaging at least 14 points and 8 assists. She's just been the engine of the offense all year. And it's in a different way than Georgia Amore was last year, because Georgia Amore was taking 18 shots a night.
Yeah.
And she was getting a lot of assists, but it was because she had the ball in her hands every possession. She was either taking a shot or passing to somebody to take the shot. Yeah. But with Tony Morgan, it's she's going to get a bucket, but I don't think that's her primary. I think she's averaging 12 shots a game, but I mean she's averaging 9 assists. Yeah. And she's really stepped it up in SEC play in the absence of Tiani Key. I think she's averaging 22 and 10 in the last 5 games. She's just been great, and this week was no different. And that's why she's our athlete of the week.
Having a person that can also, do well shooting, but also pass the ball, that's a dual threat right there, and that's dangerous. So, and hopefully that can kind of, mentor the team a little bit to also pass the ball, team sport obviously. So, but yeah, it's insane. 13 assists against Florida, it's just ridiculous. But yeah.
And then with Tony, it's not just offense. She is a very good on-ball defender. Yeah. She makes it tough on opposing point guards to do what they want to do. She does really good at maneuvering around screens. She's tough to get past because she's really quick. And then also she has a bunch of assists. She's pretty much leading the offense, but she doesn't turn the ball over that much.
Yeah.
Like, I think her assist to turnover ratio is like 3.
Yeah.
Like, she's been really good.
She reminds me a lot of Braden Smith from Purdue on the women's side of the game, where she'll get you 14 points, like, but she'll get her teammates involved. She, like, averaging 9 assists, like, really good defender. Just I see a lot of Braden Smith in her game, just men's and women's. But
and she's been very consistent. Like, even in the game against Alabama, she didn't do great, but she was still the team's leading scorer. Yep. Like, she was still getting her shots to fall and helping the offense run as much as she could with as bad as they were playing. But, like, she's been very valuable for them all season, and hope to see that continue. We hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Kernel at the Buzzer. Be sure to check out our website, kykernel.com.
And follow us on other social media platforms such as X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify.
Thanks for listening to Kernel at the Buzzer.